Is the cat all right? Oh, there's the cat out there. The cat's here. Okay.
No, he's in here, but he's just
All right.
always going to be a struggle.
All
But
right.
it'll
Well,
be good.
he can come into screen if he wants to. He can make a cameo. All right. All right. So, hello and welcome to Never Heard It, the show where I review classic albums that I never got around to listening to. And this week, I brought along a friend. He is a music producer and a DJ, originally from Montana, but is currently fighting the good fight in Portland, Oregon. In 2020, he put out a few projects, The Short and Sweet Volume 3, and a collaborative EP with fellow music producer Salt Fiend entitled Sweet and Salty. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Surebert and his cat. What's the cat's name?
Hello, this is Reptar. Yeah, this is my bud. I've had him for like 10 years.
All
So,
right. Well, welcome to Reptar. Maybe he'll have something to say too.
hey, thanks for having me and for bearing with him.
So we are here to talk about a album that is near and dear to my heart. It is so near and dear to my heart that I have it on vinyl twice. One of them is the colored edition, so I'm not crazy and just have two of the same vinyl. But we're going to be talking about J Dilla's Donuts, an album that you have not got around to listening to. So first question, why have you not heard this album?
You know, honestly, I think I just kind of just it just went under my radar somehow. I've always seen the cover of it. I honestly think at some point, maybe one of the computers I had, I might have had a copy of it on it, but I never listened to it. Um, and it just, I never listened to it. When it came out, I wasn't really listening to instrumental albums. I actually like wrote down this quote from John Wayne. Uh, he said, 2006, Dilla died, and I was living off his gift. Just heard donuts at the Borders on the corner in Alhambra, and all this stuff. And so it was just like, it made me think about in 2006, because that's when this came out.
Mm.
You know, that's when I was really getting into hip hop. I was 16 at the time, and I was buying music at Hastings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where like my spot was, like to find like CDs and stuff. Like there was actually like good jams and not just like
Yeah,
the
I remember.
Eagles,
I remember
Beatles.
Hastings. Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually had like really good taste of me. I remember getting
Mm.
like the Mouse and the Mask there. Like I got like a copy of
Mm.
it. Like they had like good cuts there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also got like The Shining there. I had The Shining,
Mm.
not the instrumental version, but the regular one.
Mm.
And I also had Welcome to Detroit on vinyl. That was one
Mm.
of the first like vinyls I'd ever bought, at
Mm.
least hip hop vinyls. And I had that, and I bumped that all the time.
Mm.
And just somehow this one was just the one that I get to. And I feel like that might happen with some other artists that I know. That like I'm a huge fan of certain people, but like they're what's the term, magnum opus. They're like their
Yeah.
big thing. I'm like, I don't know if I ever listened to
Yeah.
that.
I
Which
probably
whatever.
got it.
Yeah,
I've heard the
yeah.
other stuff. I could
Yeah, but
probably get it.
I like their first one they made in their garage. but
Yeah.
yeah, I never got to this one somehow, and I never still really listened to instrumental music that much unless it's like the
Mm.
homies or it's just some nostalgic shit. And in this case, this isn't nostalgic to me, so it
Mm. Yeah.
doesn't spark that for me. So yeah, listen to it now was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So there's, you say you don't listen to a lot of instrumental music, but there's one thing, and if I'm completely wrong about this, let me know. But when I listen to your music, I hear Blockhead. Do you listen to Blockhead or no?
Yes, Blockhead's one of my exceptions where like that
Okay.
dude makes amazing, but I also like when I listen to Blockhead, it's mostly stuff that have rap features on it and stuff.
Mm.
I will shout out that new one that he has with like Open Mike Eagle and a few other guys. I
Mm.
forgot the name of the song, but it's crazy good. And there's
Oh, is that the one with him and Bus Driver and Billy Woods?
it's got
Like,
Billy
yeah.
Woods and not Bus Driver, but someone else, Billy Woods and
Okay.
some other person. But
Okay.
we're on the right
Uh,
track anyway.
maybe it's Lucid. I don't know.
But yeah, I love Blockhead and like I love
Okay.
like RJD2, and I feel like a lot
Mm.
of people when they listen to my music, they're like, "You got RJD2 vibes," and I
Mm.
take that as a compliment. Obviously, anytime
Mm.
someone's
Yeah.
like, "You got this famous producer
Yeah.
vibes," I'm like, "That's cool with me."
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I definitely like take inspiration from that stuff. But as far as it goes to just like hard beats and stuff, like
Mm.
I don't know. Usually I'm listening to the other stuff. I remember listening to those things, when I was taking mushrooms and stuff like that,
Mm,
like doing like
mm,
wild stuff, and during like studying during school, sometimes I
mm,
guess I would do
yeah.
it, but not really,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I was one. Yeah, because I was like, I'm listening to like some of your stuff, and I'm just like, this. Yeah, this sounds like he sounds like a lot like Blockhead. I get Blockhead vibes when I listen to
For
that.
sure.
So yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was something I was wondering about. It's funny you mentioned Welcome to Detroit too, because like I got that album when it came out, but I got the instrumental version. And for years, like 15 years, I did not know that there was like a rap version. Like I didn't, I only listened to the instrumental. I mean, and there's a song called featuring Fat Cat. So I was like, why is there a song called
You're
featuring
like,
Fat
it
Cat?
was like
But
four ghosts. You're like, oh, he's just saying,
yeah.
yo, fat cat, get on this eventually.
Yeah, I was just like, why? Like, so for years, like I'm talking like within the past couple, like maybe like 3 or 4 years, I finally like maybe I heard it on Spotify. I was like, and I listened to it. I was like, oh, there's rapping on this album.
That's
So
crazy, especially
yeah,
because the intro to that album, like just when
mm,
he's just like, well, and does the intro have him like oh my god, the intro have the it's got that like sample and stuff. Does it still have the
uh,
him kind of like shouting in the beginning?
I don't, I don't think so. I don't know.
It's
I
with the
can't really,
organs, the
I
dun,
can't remember.
dun. Oh
Yeah,
man, but
I think it's just that. I think it's just that
because like I feel
instrumental.
like if I had Donuts on vinyl, like when it came out, this
Mm,
album would probably be like that to me, where I'm just like,
mm,
oh man, yeah, when it comes in like that, and like this and that, because that's how I
yeah,
am with Welcome to Detroit. There's so many
uh,
cuts on there. I
yeah.
DJ'd that at like house parties in Montana. Not a lot of people were playing like Welcome to Detroit in Montana, so I
Mm.
was like, I felt like I was really cool doing that.
Yeah, so for years, I think it's because like it was put out on BBE, and they had just put out like the Peachtramentos. So I was like, well, it's I thought it was like a series where they were just having producers put out instrumental records. So I was like, oh, well, this is another instrumental record, I guess.
Oh
And
man.
I was so for a decade, over a decade, I was listening to that album as an instrumental and had no idea. But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about donuts. All right. So first of all, so what was there? How do you generally feel about this album? Sounds like you enjoyed it. You know.
Yeah, I dug it. I mean, there's a lot of tracks on it, so it's very kind of it like jumps around everywhere. I
Mm,
think like you said, with like the Blockhead and like RJD2 stuff, I like thing songs that are like 3 or 4 minutes, even if they are kind of the same thing, because like I
mm,
kind of get into a groove with them. And
mm,
like I think it's kind of on the same level when like people watch The Office over and over again, is because they're comfortable and they're like, I know
mm,
where this is going, I know,
mm,
like
mm,
I'm not so I kind of like sometimes like when it's instrumental albums where it's like a 3 minute beat and there's
mm.
some switch ups and stuff, but it's just kind of a vibe the whole time. So it was a lot of like here and there and everywhere,
Yeah,
and
so this one felt a little more schizophrenic, kind of
yeah,
like
uh-huh.
every 2 minutes you're somewhere else.
Yeah, but like overall, I mean, the sound is super dope, and the sound is even different from like Welcome to Detroit. Like that one, like
Hmm.
hits and stuff, but this one's like the sample game is like next level. I feel like on
Mm.
this in particular.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
the main things I like noted that I really like about it is the warmth of it, which I don't know if I really got that from Welcome to Detroit, but also I was listening to it like on my worn out as vinyl, so it could just
Mm,
be just the sound. But like this, listening to this, through my monitor speakers, it just had this like crazy good sound. Like it's
mm,
it's one of those things as an artist where you want to like go back and use it as a reference track of like,
mm.
yeah, I want my shit to hit like this.
Yeah.
So that's what I really liked about it. And there's like some songs on here that I had already recognized from like other tracks that people have rapped
Mm,
on and stuff, and like uh the way that those are done slightly differently on here made it seem like
mm,
they're
mm.
whole entirely different tracks. And
Yeah.
just like the tempo switches, there's some of them have like just the sample playing at the beginning and abrupt
Mm,
like beat
yeah.
starting, or sometimes it'll kind of like slowly come in and you're trying to catch the groove, and then it like really
Yeah.
catches and you're like in the spot. It's just crazy stuff like that where you know, I wasn't making beats in 2006. I was just starting. I started DJing in 2007, 2008. So if I had like been listening to this stuff back then, maybe,
Mm,
I feel like it's one of those things where, oh man, if I had started producing when I was 15, 16, where would I be now? I would be killing it
mm.
so much harder. And it's like, man, if I'd been like influenced by this earlier on,
Mm.
man, it might be, a different story. But yeah.
Yeah, it was I always like it when he plays out the full sample, like Cry, where he plays out the full sample. Then he's like, "Well, let me show you what it would sound like if I chopped it up," and then he chops it up, and it just sounds amazing. Like
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite things that he does. He'll like play the full sample, and then he'll show you, okay, now this is what I did with it. And another thing about like this is one of the first albums that it just sounds like a beat tape that you would give to a rapper. This sounds like a beat tape that you would just hand to a rapper and say, "Hey, pick whatever beats you want off of this. I'll extend them. I'll put a chorus in here and I'll stretch them out to 3 minutes or whatever you want." And people weren't releasing albums like that before this. Like it was really weird to hear something like this that it just sounded so raw, straight from the cassette, as he would say.
And I guess then it makes sense, in that sense too, because, basically everyone has done, they're like almost every one of these songs has been touched by someone after
Hmm.
this got dropped.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that, like, it got dropped like a beat tape, and everyone's like, "Yo,
Mm.
I want that number 3, I want number
Yep.
4, I want number 5." Like,
Yeah.
and they just took these 1 minute beats and turned them in like
Mm.
the one by that's so far to go that's on The
Mm.
Shining. Like,
Yeah.
that real song, like the full version, it's like 5 minutes long,
Mm.
and the beat on here probably isn't that long. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, everything on here is like a minute and a half. Like the longest
yeah.
song on it is the first, I think, Working on It, which is almost 3 minutes. I think
And I had
everything
heard
else is like a minute or two.
I'd heard Working on It. That was one of those
Mm.
like Adult Swim ones.
Yeah.
But I only heard the first part, just like the typical the working on it.
Yeah.
Uh, but the second part of it is like really hits, and like I
Mm.
wasn't expecting that. I also feel like maybe if that comes on, or if it ever came on like a, I don't know, a Pandora playlist back in the day when I
Mm.
was listening to Pandora, but I'd be like, oh yeah, I know this one, and then I'm like a minute and a half in, I'm like, okay, I get it, it's working on it,
Mm.
and I probably missed the dope ass second
Mm.
half of it.
Yeah.
Um, Man, because that part gets me going, where it's like one of those songs where I just want to listen to the first part for the second part.
Mm. Yeah. And there's a bunch of stuff. Like one of my favorite parts is on Airworks, where he drops the needle, or it sounds like maybe he messed up, or maybe he put it in the wrong place. And then he picks it up, and then he puts it back, and then the song starts over. Like it just sounds so raw. Like that's one of my favorite moments in the album, where he just
Man, and it
he
gives
just
you a
dropped.
certain feeling, and like
Yeah.
it's really funny because when I heard that, I thought of like, I was like, oh yeah, and this is 2006 too, and I wonder at what point people started putting vinyl sounds over their
Mm.
beats, just to make, when people like they
Yeah.
put extra crackle, or they put like
Yeah.
before the beat starts, they found a clip for like a needle dropping on a record or
Hmm.
something, and it's just like, because everyone wants that sound, and that
Yeah.
was just a thing he did. It wasn't like, yo, this is how raw this is. It was just
Yeah.
like, so yeah, that's pretty crazy, where it's just like, this was super iconic in all these different ways, and I
Mm.
didn't even, it's just cool to hear it now and
Yeah.
contextualize it.
Yeah. It's weird, like because this album is famous because the quote about it is that this album launched like a billion Bandcamp albums. Like when this came out, everybody was like, "Oh, you can do this? You can put out a beat tape as an album? Okay." And then like that's like there's a million of these on Bandcamp now basically because of this album.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, were there really like a lot of, I mean, I guess you said like Peach Instrumentals and stuff was coming
mhm.
out, but like were there like a lot of like
Not
badass
not really. As far as not like this. I mean, there were either like instrumental album, like people would put out an instrumental version of their album, like I don't know, like Chronic 2001 or something. You can get the
right?
instrumental version of it, stuff like that, or you get stuff like Peace Instrumentals, which was like meant to be an instrumental hip hop album with like 3 minute songs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But before this, there was stuff like the Executioners with,
Yeah,
there was just like DJs.
right.
I would say probably the only album, like this is one of the most important instrumental hip hop albums. I would say there's maybe one other one that's maybe more important, and I would say DJ Shadow's Introducing.
I
That
got
kind
that
of,
right up on my wall over
yeah,
here.
that one, I mean, I don't even know what instrumental hip hop would sound like without that album. Like that,
Oh, and that's what's
that's
crazy is
the
like
blueprint.
this copy that I have. That's like one of the first. Like a lot of the vinyls that I have that are hip hop, I bought them
Mm,
in Montana when I was 16, 17.
mm,
So it's just like it's more, it like means a lot to me, and I'm like, man,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't have donuts around that same time. It's just crazy
Yeah,
that it just
yeah,
went right by.
yeah. I mean, because that one, I don't, that was that 96, 96, 97?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't think of anything before that that sounded like, I mean, I'm sure there were. I'm sure the internet will correct us if
Oh, that
we're
was
wrong.
96, 96.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can't think of anything like other than like the Executioners. I think was 97, 98, something like that. So
But yeah,
I
definitely
mean,
a different like approach, like as a
yeah.
producer, like
Hmm.
yeah.
Were there any specific songs that you really dug on this one?
Let's see, man, a couple that I really liked, besides like the ones that I already knew, like Last Donut of the Night,
Mm,
um, Donut of the Heart, and then Bye, which was like crazy dope.
mm,
Bye is probably still my favorite, even though I've already heard that beat.
mm,
Um, but like the new Stop, Two Can Win. And I feel like there was, because I went and listened to all the other songs, and there's like a big Sean freestyle over Two Can Win that I was actually like pretty impressed with. So yeah, there's all sorts of interesting things. Gobstopper and You Love. So like
mm.
honestly, you know,
It's like 90% of the
there's a
album.
lot, but there's also
Yeah.
like 30 songs. But yeah, there's a
Mm,
lot that like stuck out to me that I hadn't already heard, that
mm,
were like new Dilla beats to me. So
mm. Was there anything you didn't like?
um there's some, I mean, like this is just kind of how Dilla is sometimes with me. Like some of his like loops are just too repetitive.
Mm,
And I know how that can be. I can't,
mm,
I'm sure I got my share of repetitive loops, but like
mm,
there was like, like working on it kind of, gets to me after a while. Or like Glazed was another one that
mm,
like is like really repetitive.
mm,
Um but I mean, that's about it. And then the shortness of everything, I guess. And I guess some beats, like I've heard Lightworks before, that was on
mm,
that Doom Born Like This album.
mm,
Um and like I never really cared for that beat, and I think only kind of hearing it as an instrumental have I liked it more. I think Doom kind of ruined it rapping on it.
mm.
Um so like I'm kind of like, it was better to hear that without raps on
Mm,
it. And I think that's how a few of these were like, oh, I've
mm,
heard this before, but you hear the sonic of it, and you hear how he wanted it to sound, because who knows how they mixed it again for the new song.
mm.
So it's nice to just hear that warmth of it, and like and I'm sure they didn't go through a lot of processes to mix and master this, so it's very raw. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, there's no bullshit, not a lot of fingers in the mix.
mm. So I guess you've kind of already answered this, but this is the question I have to ask. Do you understand why it's a classic?
Absolutely. I'm surprised that no one's like, that I have not been shunned by, or like not shunned, but like scolded by anyone for like not listening to this.
Well, it's not too late now. I mean, as soon as it goes on the internet, I mean.
I know. Well, it's okay. I'll be like, I've listened to it a few times now by the time you talk to me. Um, so yeah, I totally understand. And it's crazy because just looking at the album artwork is like iconic in itself,
Mhm,
and no album that has like that iconic of artwork is like bad musically. They're like, oh, the
mhm,
artwork's great, but the music's not. So I always understood how great it was, and like
mhm,
also just that the picture captures Jay Dilla, I feel like, so well. And there's the whole,
mhm,
if you haven't seen this, I'm sure you have, but other
mhm,
people, like the like sequence of photos that are like in that photo shoot or whatever.
mhm, yeah.
Um,
Well,
and it's
it
just,
was a music
it
video.
was a music video.
Yeah, for I
Oh,
think it
okay.
was
It was
Mad.
was it for
I
Welcome to
can't think
Detroit
of.
song?
No, it was a Med song. I can't think of
Oh, okay.
off the top of my head. I can't think of the name of the song.
Okay. But yeah,
Uh,
and I definitely consider it a classic now. Like I
mm,
see it, um, you know, I see The Shining, Welcome to Detroit, and
mm,
Donuts as like, the top three up there, unless there's
mm,
another one that I'm missing out on that's like that high. I mean,
oh,
I listened to like Champion Sound, the J-Lib stuff
mm,
like back in the day.
yeah,
So like, that's like half Dilla beats, right?
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
yeah, it's literally half. Like either
yeah.
yeah, they either he rapped on it or Madlib rapped on it.
Yeah,
So
so like I
yeah,
was down on all of it, and this was
mm.
just the one I skipped. Maybe I was intimidated by it. Maybe it was one of those like it was like the Parks and Rec meme where I'm like, at this point I'm too afraid.
Okay, so well, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to plug? Anything that you're doing? Any albums coming out?
Um, I mean, I'm working on a bunch of projects with a bunch of different people. Like
Mm,
after being like locked in and usually kind of just working with the same couple of people, I like started reaching out a bunch of being like, hey, you want to work on this? Like, you know, who's down to work on stuff with me? And I'm actually working on quite a few different like projects with people. But I've got some singles coming up. I've got one that I'm gonna put out with Vocab Slick, my friend from the Bay Area. I got a bunch on his album. He's got like Four Eyes and Zion I on some tracks of mine. So those are coming soon. And then like I've got some solo stuff with IME from Sand People. I've got a song with him I'm going to put out soon. And Lana Shea just hit me with a track just last night. I've known her for a long time, like since I lived in Montana and everything. And we haven't done a song till now, until
all
yesterday.
right,
So that'll be coming soon. So I'm very excited about all that stuff. But yeah,
cool.
definitely working on new projects and another short but sweet. Definitely.
Oh, sounds like 2021 is going to be pretty big. Huh?
Yeah, I hope so.
Let us know where can the people reach you before I completely close out. What's
Oh
your
yeah, for sure. You can find me at Surebert, Surebert. I'm mainly on Instagram. I'm not really on like Facebook or Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I mainly just follow people. So, um, so yeah, find me on Instagram or like, but like all my music's on Bandcamp. I'm streaming everywhere. I'm on SoundCloud. So my music's everywhere you can find music.
cool? All right. Well, this is two guys on the internet that don't know everything. See you guys later. Peace.
Thanks. Peace.